So when it comes to brand storytelling, not everything that a company makes needs to be very long. Sometimes it can be very short. And I actually think that in today's society, specifically with posting stuff on Facebook or Instagram or ads or things like that and videos, your ability to go short, very short story is actually an incredibly powerful place to be from an advertising perspective and just a content perspective in general. If you can master the very short story and how it relates to what your company's trying to say, you can go really far with that. Obviously, you need to do it consistently over a long period of time, but it's something that I've noticed that some of the biggest brands that have stayed relevant through this transition of social media and other things like that over the last, let's say, 10, 20 years, their ability to add short stories into their marketing efforts and to continue to reinforce their brand is super important. So I'm going to quickly discuss a short commercial. It is 30 seconds long by Ford for one of their branded cars, the Ford F-150. So let's watch it together.
An F-150 isn't an F-150 because of the name on the tailgate. It's an F-150 because it's built Ford tough, built to haul more, built to tow more, for the people who count on it. Because they know that brawn can get the job done, but it takes brains and brawn to get it done right. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
That's it. So, it's 29 seconds long right on the dot, so it runs into the 30-second spot. For anyone who knows YouTube pre-roll, which is the first time I saw this ad, if you run it over 30, if it's less than 30 seconds, it's like before the skip now. Usually it's before the skip now button. There's also a lot of benefits to 30-second videos. But if you think about it, this is a 30-second video that has a lot going on in it. And it's a fairly large story. So the main things I want to just bring up are, one, the script. So we know what the F-150 is. Most people know this car. But the script itself is really continuing to drill down on the brand promise in a lot of ways. So there's this great book called Storynomics and all about the power of storytelling and into advertising and how it's this incredible way to increase revenue. And the writer of that book says there's really 5 types of brand stories. There's origin stories, history stories, mission stories, product stories, and customer stories or consumer stories. This video, I won't go into all of them, but this video in particularly, I would say it's a product story, right? So it's about the Ford F-150. It's talking about it. But what's so genius about this script is it's also a customer story in many ways. The way they're talking about the car, and it's even the commercial itself is called What's in a Name, really drilling down like how the car itself, built to haul more, built to tow more. There's even a line in there that says like, tough this smart, you need brain and brawn to get the job done. So they're using a lot of terminology that relates to the product, but it's also like a customer story too, right? Because that's what this car has so successfully done over so many years is to really play on that aspirational identity of the buyer, right? And this person who also wants to be tough, wants to be strong, all of those things. And if you look at some of the shots in here too, which is my next point, every shot, that's a shot of the car, but like is just drilling down on this story. So you've got the script that's telling a very specific story, and then you've got the shots that are telling a very specific story. Some of them run like less than a second, and it's about being outdoors. It's towing. It's really, really getting that message across. The other ways that they're doubling down on this is the voiceover. So we do a lot of hiring of voiceover actors for the things that we do. And it's finding the right person to read the script will almost make or break something like this. And they've gone, very classic, male voice, very country, very deep and in command. Let's even just listen to his voice for a second.
The toe more for the people who count on it. Because they know that brawn can get the job done, but it takes brains.
Right? So that voice, again, continues the story. A lot of people will watch it and be like, I want to be that guy that's even doing the script. And so I wanted to bring that piece up. Also the music. Another really core element of the success of this piece is the music that they've chosen. So it's rock, it's country rock, which is actually one of my favorite genres. So I really like that they just doubled down on that. And I actually even made an internal video for a company for their accomplishments. Sometimes companies like to say, all year we did all of this, and they want kind of like a sizzle reel slideshow thing of all the things that they did. And I used a rock song. I wasn't sure how they'd feel about it. I asked them, I was like, can I use this rock song? And they were like, sure, let's try it out. And they loved it. It turned out great. So I think this kind of music is really, in the right context, can be really right. And for Ford F-150, it's really right. I'll even go back to the beginning and just so you can hear it for a minute.
50 isn't an F-150 because of the name on the
tailgate.
It's an F-150
like you're right out in the country.
It's built Ford tough, built to haul more.
Right? So that's another way that they're really drilling down on this story from an auditory perspective. And then my last note was on the words, which I think I covered already. The specific words that they're using, this is what's making the audience be like, I want this. Like, again, I want to be, strong. And everything about this is leading that way. So my main point I'm making with this is that if you're thinking about the content that you're going to make, or you're like, what kind of content should we make for our brand or company, which is a question that comes up again and again and again in my life, you need to truly understand where your brand sits from a positioning perspective and what your offer is, i.e. this offer is a really tough car that's great for the outdoors, that's super strong and all those things. But we know that's not the only reasons people buy. They're not just going to buy because it offers X quality or Y quality. Basically, most trucks do that, right? So they have to double down on all the other things that are going to differentiate this car. And that's one of the ways that you can do it in your content. So you first need to understand, as I said, what you're trying to sell and why. Then you have to understand who you're trying to sell it to. But you also have to understand how you're selling it. And they do, again, they've been around for a real long time. They may be the best-selling truck of potentially all time. And it's because they don't miss a beat on any of these things. Every element of their brand and their marketing as it relates to this truck in particular follows this story. You're not having some random voice, or there's no shots here that don't relate to the sole promise of outdoors, strong towing trucks, rugged, it's this kind of rugged competence that they're constantly going for. And every note, every shot is consistently positioning that. And so, again, when it comes to making your own stuff, ask yourself, like, is any of this straying off the track? Is any of this not completely in line with our ideal customer, and not in a way that's like, I need this because it's me? Like, they're watching it and everything about it is just screaming their name, basically. And you can do that with any company that you have, no matter if you sell cars, no matter if you sell basically anything. And it doesn't have to be as loud a story as this either. It can be a much more simple story, but keep every single part of your creative when it comes to content marketing and making video storytelling or any of that stuff really, really on point, and you can't lose. And, if you've working on some content or you've got a brand and you're making some stuff and you want to chat about any of this, definitely feel free to hit me up. I love talking about this stuff, point you in the right direction. And yeah, see if also you're a good fit for what we do.